One is a respected writer.
I see we're just throwing the word respect around willy-nilly now, huh?
The other is a former world champion. This is Boxing with Mannix and Moron. The fighter.
Just how many times did he get punched in the face exactly?
Versus the writer.
It's a cacophony of great analysis and insight. It's true. I said cacophony. It wasn't my best moment.
Follow, rate, and review.
5 stars all day.
And now, here's Chris Mannix.
All right, we are back. No Sergio this week. I'm giving his mouth and more notably his liver a break after a full week in New York City where I got to tell you, I'll let him speak for himself later in the week, but Sergio took New York. He did not waste an hour in that city, and I'm pretty sure he spent more money than he made working the fight card this past weekend. But he'll be back later in the week. But because it is a Manny Pacquiao fight week, that's right, a Manny Pacquiao fight week in 2025, I've got a great fill-in here for Sergio. Chris Algieri, former world champion, one-time Manny Pacquiao championship opponent, as I read off this cute ppv.com cue card given to me by Fred Sternberg. He co-hosts the exclusive viewer chat in real time throughout Saturday's Pacquiao versus Barrios crystal clear HD live stream on ppv.com. The crystal clear was unnecessary. We hope that it is going to be clear regardless. Order the Pacquiao Barrios World Championship event on ppv.com. No subscription required. Chris, what's happening, man? Good to see you out here in Vegas.
First off, Mannix, great read. Really good on the copy there.
Crushed it.
Yeah, everything's good. Out here in Vegas. I'm going to do the exact opposite of what Sergio apparently did in New York. I'm going to lie low. I am not hitting Vegas this week. I'm going to stay in my suite, chill out, be ready for Saturday.
So I'll give you a little insight into the week of Sergio. Like, we went out a couple of times. There was a concert at Pier 17, Bare Naked Ladies, Fastball, like Mark McGrath, Sugar Ray, I guess. And it was awesome. But and it's over at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock hits, I'm like, I'll see you guys later. 10 o'clock hits for Sergio, and it's like, where's the karaoke bar? Where is the place in Soho? Where's the place downtown? He got a good 6 hours a night more than me, I think.
And I've been out with both you guys before, and that's generally the case. You sneak out at a reasonable hour, like a true professional, and Sergio till the wheels fall off.
He's able to function. I don't know how he can do it, but he had a good week in New York. All right, I want to talk about this Pacquiao and Barrios fight, but we got to look back at the weekend that was, because it was a pretty fun weekend in New York City. And let's kind of go in reverse order and talk about the main event on Saturday, Edgar Berlanga against Hamzah Sheeraz. This was considered a 50-50 fight coming in. Kind of both these guys, or at least the odds makers had it that way. Both these guys had a lot of questions. Shiraz coming off that, questionable draw against Carlos Adames. You've got Berlanga riding the wave of a lopsided decision loss to Canelo Alvarez. And we learned, I think, a lot about both guys. 5th-round knockout win by Hamzah Sheeraz, who is now a real player in the 168-pound division. And Edgar Berlanga, now with his second loss, kind of looking around going, what's next? Let's start with the positives here. Like, Shiraz, did he show you something that you needed to see from him, that you didn't know if he had in him after that Adames fight?
100%. And I was very high on Shiraz at 60. Before the Adames fight, I was like, I think this guy's going to take over 160. I mean, gigantic for the weight class, good fundamentals, good skills, good power, obviously. And then the Adames fight, I thought he lost. I think most people do. He caught a draw that night, but then we also hear that he had a hand injury, but then also we realized that he's struggling with the weight. And that was a big question going into this fight. I'm like, how much was he struggling with the weight? How much did that affect his performance against Adames? Also, let me add, though, I think Adames is actually very good. I think he's a very underrated champion at 160. So I'll put that out there as well. I'm going to get a lot of feedback from that, I'm sure. But Shiraz, how much was he really hurting himself to make 160? And that was another question for me, too, because you're moving up. Your first fight at 68 is against Berlanga, who's probably the biggest 68-pounder in the world. The guy steps on the ring damn near 200 pounds. He's a monster. And what he showed me was not only can he hang, he actually belongs there. The power was there. He still looks huge. Very, very tall for the weight class, big, long. I said when I'm watching him, he looks like a praying mantis out there. He's so long. But he showed physicality as well. He was able to literally push Berlanga around when he didn't want to engage. And I thought that was really eye-opening for me. And the punches that hurt Berlanga, I mean, Berlanga went 12 with Canelo. We're always going to say that. He's been hurt before. But the punches that he landed, it wasn't like he was loading up. They were in combination, hurting Berlanga. So I agree with you. I think Shiraz is a real major player at 68 now.
He is, I think I used this word on air, he's a spiteful puncher. Like, he just kind of like just slashing punches at you. And look, sometimes when a fighter loses and says, oh, injury, oh, weight, oh, trainer, we'll get into that. Like, you're like, all right, great. That's just an excuse for losses. But after that performance by Shiraz, I believe all of it. Like, I believe he did have a hand injury in that fight. I believe getting down to 160 probably did kill him. Like you mentioned, Berlanga is a huge 168. Shiraz dwarfed him. He was 3 inches taller than him on fight night. And look, we could talk about this. Like, Andy Lee is fast becoming one of the best trainers in all of boxing. Andy Lee, who revived the career of Joseph Parker, who is now working with Paddy Donovan, who should have gotten a win over Lewis Crocker and now may get a world title in the rematch. And now he's got Hamzah, back on top again. Like that is, Sergio and I talk about this a lot about, like, trainers, the ones that can take you from the ground up, and you've experienced this. Like, that's one thing, but if you can take on a guy that's a kind of a formed entity and turn him into a better version of himself, that's really impressive. That's really impressive from Andy.
Yeah, Andy is a high boxing IQ coach, and he doesn't teach a style. He teaches what he has in front of him. And when I heard that Andy Lee and Hamzah were hooking up, I was like, oof, that's good. Because Andy also, as a fighter, really tall, long guy, rangy guy, good power. Shiraz, some similarities there. Shiraz, definitely more physical and more fundamental. But yeah, I think that's a really good marriage of fighter and trainer. And I couldn't agree more. I think Andy Lee is a real problem out there. If you got him across the ring from you, you're gonna have a long night.
So the next step for Shiraz, at least if Turki Al-Sheikh gets his way, which he often does, is Canelo Alvarez. He's now the mandatory, I guess, for one of the belts that Canelo holds. Canelo, of course, fighting Terence Crawford in September. Did that become a more interesting fight to you? Or is that the kind of fight that Canelo would even look? I guess, look, if Turkey's in play and he's throwing 9 figures at you, you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But is that now a more interesting fight for Canelo in 2026?
It is, but I'd like to see more development from Shiraz before he steps in with a Canelo right away. That was his first fight at 68. I'd like to see him fight another one of the top guys. I don't like these guys waiting around for the Canelo sweepstakes.
I agree.
Get back out there, get another win, get another fight, get another big fight. I think we just announced that there's going to be Lester Martinez versus Mbili. I like the Mbili fight for Shiraz. I thought that would be a really fun fight. But Lester, super talented guy. We've had him on Pro Box TV for a couple fights. But I'd like to see these guys stay more busy. Don't hang around. Don't waste your prime years. Go get another win. Build your profile. So when that fight happens, it's even bigger. Not that it really affects the money because Turkey's paying anyway. But
the one that I like for him is Diego Pacheco. Diego Pacheco's going to fight this weekend against the guy that looks like your kid brother, Trevor McCumbee, and and if he wins that fight, he's just going to be sitting out there looking for a big fight of his own. Like, we hear all about these Matchroom versus Queensberry type of events. Got one right there. Hamzah Sheeraz at 168 with Queensberry. Diego Pacheco, 168 with Matchroom. 2 guys highly ranked. Put an interim title on the line if you really want to sweeten the pot. Just because Canelo may just walk away from both of them. I love that fight personally.
Yeah, I agree. That one actually slipped my mind until you just said it. But that's a great fight. Since Mbili's busy, yeah. I mean, Pacheco's a guy that I really rate highly as well. I mean, he's been on such a tear as of late, and he's another one, a physical phenom, just big, long, tall, strong. He's even got that big guy voice. He's got like a giant, like deep voice.
He does.
That doesn't match what you would expect from him. That's a cool fight. And stylistically, to see 2 guys that are kind of similar in terms of the way they look physically, it's a fun fight.
So we got to talk about Berlanga.
My guy Edgar.
Because when I was walking around the venue after the fight, people there, boxing people, were, I would say, giddy that he lost. Like, there were a lot of people with a lot of different promotions, not just, Oscar being giddy, but a lot of people out there, staffers and the like, that were very happy to see Edgar Berlanga lose this fight. Because look, Edgar's done what he should do. He's been guided masterfully, I think, by your former manager, Keith Conley. He's made a ton of money, but the bravado with the resume just has not matched up. And this was viewed by a lot of people by Edgar getting a licking that he's had a long time coming. What did you think of how the fight played out for Edgar?
So I've known Edgar a long time. I used to train with him and Andre Razier in Brooklyn back in, I think I met him probably first time 2017, 2018. I was in the gym with him. We trained together quite a bit. I love the kid. He's such a nice kid. But yeah, what you see on social media, cringe sells these days. And humility is not really something that people look for. So I think Edgar got into that lane and has kind of built his persona around that. And listen, people love to see those people fall. And Edgar fell, obviously, and he stumbled. But I think he'll be back. But in terms of the public persona and perception, I mean, the memes are coming out like crazy, just nonstop memes of things Edgar said before the fight, and then actual scenes from the fight. But listen, that's part of the game. You talk trash, you got to eat dirt afterwards if it doesn't work out.
So my take on Edgar, and you've been around him a lot more than I have, but my take on Edgar is that because he's young enough to keep going, right? He's not going to retire and disappear. But I think he's got to work harder at being at the boxing craft and not just on boxing stardom, not trying to be this known guy. I mean, like, not just the jewelry, but the just everything, all the persona, the bravado, all that he's had. Like, that's great, but you got to spend more time in the gym. Like, his team was telling me that he had a great training camp, fine, but I don't know what he weighed on fight. He looked heavy. He looked slow in the ring. Like, I don't know what his rehydration process was after weighing in. I think he's got to take this stuff more seriously. He was so confident that he was just going to steamroll Hamzah Sheeraz, and that loss was exponentially worse than what happened with Canelo. Like, he could walk away from Canelo going, I went 12 rounds with the king of 168. Yeah. He couldn't go 5 with a guy making his debut at 168. That has to be a wake-up call. I mean, I don't advocate for firing trainers or anything like that. Mark Farid's a good trainer, has been with him a long time, off and on. But there's got to be some changes made with Edgar if he's going to have any chance of getting back to a top level. And
I just said this yesterday. He needs a rebuilding process. He needs to rebuild. He needs to go out. No more main event fights for a bit. Go back down a run. Get a couple wins. Get that confidence back. Work on your craft, like you're alluding to. I've seen these camps. I've seen him in Plant City with Mark Farid. He was a fantastic coach, and I agree. In the fight, he didn't look prepared for what was in front of him. He wasn't closing the distance well. And Edgar has fast hands, and he can punch, and he's big for the weight class.
His footwork, though, Chris, is terrible.
Wasn't getting in position.
It's terrible. It's terrible. He needs like I was talking so Sergio, who stinks, but Sergio has.
Love you, Sergio.
I tell him he stinks all the time, but then he tells me I'm an asshole. Yeah. He had great footwork as a fighter. Like, his trainer, Dean Campos, who trained this woman you may know, Sinisa Estrada, also has great footwork. Like, he needs to either supplement his team with someone that teaches that type of stuff, or go out to somebody else. Like, he's got to find that. Like, he was not in position at all. He was squared up, Chris, all the time against Hamzah. And Hamzah's throwing, and there's no video here, but Hamzah's throwing these straight lefts and these hooks. Like, just
but
so
that's
easy
also
to
why
hit.
Hamzah was able to literally just push Berlanga off, because he was so square. He was on his heels already. So Hamzah literally just did a little shoulder push, actually pushed with his gloves at certain points, and he was able to push, break position of Berlanga. I always say there's a guy like Berlanga who can punch. He's got fast hands. He hits hard. If he's heavy artillery. If you don't get heavy artillery into position, it doesn't matter. You can't land. And it just looked like he didn't know how to get himself into position in order to let those weapons fly. And Hamzah was just on a different level.
Yeah, he does have to rebuild. I mean, the argument that some people make, well, he's been on like a rebuilding tour for a while now, this last couple of fights. But fighting in undercards. And look, he's going to have to humble himself, because I think a lot of promoters are not going to be rushing to get back into biz with him. And if they do, they're not going to pay him. Like, they're not going to give him the kind of money that he's been looking for. So that was a humbling experience, I think, for Berlanga on fight night, and hopefully he goes into this next phase of his career with a different outlook. The co-main event, Shakur Stevenson against William Zepeda. Let's just address right at the top that this fight was a blowout. I asked you before we went on the air, how you scored it. You said wide. I scored it wide. There were some people on Twitter, though. I was reading some notable people that I know on Twitter that were screaming that it was super close, that Zepeda, could have pulled out a draw, may have even won it. I sitting there ringside, I gave Zepeda 3 rounds. I could have given him 2. No more, though, than 3. The power, accuracy, everything was on the side of Shakur Stevenson. So just off the top, you thought that was a wide Shakur win.
Yeah, I gave Zepeda 2 rounds. And I could clearly see the defensive maneuvers by Shakur on the shoulders, on the gloves, on the elbows. But also, I think we also learned Zepeda doesn't hit hard. He didn't look powerful at all when he was landing the shots. Even the shots that were landing on Shakur, and this is something I've said about Shakur for a while, he's not a puncher, but he's physically strong. I've been around Shakur. I've been around both of them. Shakur is not a small 35-pounder. He's heavily muscled. He's strong. He's physical. Zepeda's not, and we saw that. The punches that Zepeda was landing versus the punches that Shakur was landing, Shakur said it leading up to the fight, I hit harder than him. I see it now. He does. He's more explosive. He hits harder. He had heavier hands. So, yeah, I expected this kind of fight. I thought it was going to be a one-sided fight. I thought Zepeda was tailor-made for Shakur with the defensive style that he has. But, yeah, watching it, I had the same reaction with people who were saying that they thought Zepeda was doing good. I was like, really?
Eddie Hearn.
Good what?
Good. I mean, good. He threw, right? Yes. He did what he did. He threw punches. The ones he landed, I thought, were glancing. He wasn't bad by any stretch, but he was up against a pound-for-pound guy who is masterful defensively.
Can we also say Zepeda that Shakur doesn't run, please?
No.
Can we end that? Can we end that this discussion? And people say this.
I always thought that was bizarre. Like
yes.
And even like Devin, not to bring Devin into this, but Devin's last fight he ran.
Right.
But Devin too doesn't run either. Like mostly Devin against Regis Prograis. Go back and watch that. A wipeout. Devin stayed in the pocket and just moved in and out. Shakur stays in, moves in and out. Probably hung out in the ropes a little bit too long against Zepeda. He admitted that after the fight, and that ultimately cost him. But I saw a clip of Eddie Hearn saying he was sitting next to Oscar De La Hoya, and Oscar told him this was like Meldrick Taylor Chavez before the ending of that, like a dominant performance by Meldrick Taylor. I walked past Bernard Hopkins on my way up the ring to the interview. Sorry, Bernard, you said this to me, but you said it was a shutout. He said a shutout for Shakur in this one. Like, anyone that knows boxing knows that was a wide decision win for Shakur Stevenson. And that was exactly the kind of performance that he needed. Coming off the De Los Santos fight, the Hartunian fight, all the talk about, is he pillow-fisted? Is he run? Is he unentertaining? That was an entertaining, dominant performance against a guy that at one point was ranked number 1 by all 4 of the sanctioning bodies. You can't get any better than that.
No, I couldn't agree. Well, we could if this fight happened before Tevin Farmer. Because post Tevin Farmer, you're like, all right, Zepeda's not that guy. And then also the fact that Tevin Farmer gets blown up by Schofield in succession. It's like, ugh, okay. If it would happen before, it would have meant a lot more. But to your point, the performance in and of itself was fantastic. I thought Shakur looked great. I think it was somewhere in the second round, Zepeda landed something, and I saw Shakur smile, and I could see his in his mind thinking like, "Oh, you can't punch, you can't hurt me." And so that's why I think he stayed in the pocket more than he needed to. But it made for a good fight.
He was doing some things that I was noticing, like he knew, like Zepeda's a combination puncher,
right?
And he knew the sequence of the combinations. Like he knew them.
Like he was calling up head work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
He had his hands up to block Zepeda rights before Zepeda was even throwing them.
Normally you beat counterpunchers by throwing combinations. You just punch through the counter. You can't do that with Shakur. He's, like you said, he's so aware of what's coming. He sees it. He reacts to it. He's got like otherworldly awareness, and that was on display all night long.
And I tell you what, the Shakur Stevenson Floyd Schofield matchup, what's supposed to happen in February, that just got a lot more interesting to me. Floyd Schofield blitzing Tevin Farmer in less than 1 round, and Shakur Stevenson putting on that masterclass. I don't know if that is revived for Saudi Arabia. I think it's a great fight in the U.S. You could do it in New Jersey. You could do it in New York. You could do it in Vegas. I'm almost glad the fight didn't happen between the two back in February, because after watching Schofield do to Farmer what Zepeda couldn't in 1 round, and watching Shakur, just shake off all the naysayers and the critics, I like that fight a lot more, Chris.
I like it immediately. That fight right now. I think they're both on a high. They both are coming off of great performances. The performances are linked, as you said, Zepeda and Schofield. So I think it makes sense to make that the next fight. Both guys are riding high. Let's do it. Sign me up.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, on Friday in New York, we had the trilogy fight between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. And another thing Sergio always says, this time he's right on this one, is that the third fights of these kind of things often don't...
Almost always
look bad. And he was on point on this one. This was nothing like the first 2 fights. And I kind of blame that on Amanda Serrano and the game plan that she was given. Like, I'm watching that fight unfold. the first round's cagey. I'm like, whatever, first rounds can be cagey. And the second round is the same way. And then the third round, you get to like the fifth round. I'm like, this is a 10-round fight. When is Amanda Serrano going to look like Amanda Serrano? I don't know if she could have won fighting the exact same way. She lost both times, but they were razor close decisions. One was a majority. The other one was decided by literally one round. What did you think of I guess, the way Serrano chose to fight that fight?
It was another Puerto Rican fighter having trouble getting the feet in the right position. Berlanga had that the night after. Amanda had that the night this fight on Friday night. This was the only fight that I thought Katie certainly won. Like I had no question. I'm like, Katie won this fight. I thought the first fight was a draw. I thought the second fight Serrano won, and then third fight Katie I thought won by the widest margin of any of the fights, because of the style that Amanda chose to employ. I was with you. I'm like round 4 or 5. I'm like, when is she going to start fighting? Because she's in the hole. I think I had a 4-1 after the first 5 rounds. You can't beat Katie like that. Katie's an Olympic gold medalist. That's her style. She's going to be in the outside. She's going to be chippy on the outside. She's going to be in and out. I thought her corner did a fantastic job in terms of the instructions throughout. Even at the end, they're like, we need this round. In the last round, very smart. She was landing the straight right hand, but pulling straight out. And Amanda's dangerous. Like, don't do that. Throw the left hook or slide under. I'm like, this is really good, specific corner instruction. Whereas Amanda, there was a lacking of what specifically to do, and it was more like, we're doing good.
Yeah, it was positive reinforcement.
Yeah, and
like, I don't know how
I couldn't understand that.
I don't know how you're watching that fight unfold thinking we're winning.
Yeah.
Like there's such close rounds, and Katie is the one like throwing those typical Katie Taylor flurries that get the attention.
She knows how to catch the eyes, man.
Yeah, and Amanda catches the eyes with blunt force, like volume punching and blunt force and power and hurting opponents, getting them against. Even when Amanda had Katie against the ropes, backed up, she wasn't letting her hands go and throwing that way. I could not understand the strategy in a fight like that. Like this,
Amanda needs you to engage. She needs you to trade. She'll get hit. She doesn't care. She hits hard. She hits so hard. It doesn't matter. You hit her. She hits you. She wins.
Yeah. This was a fight that I thought afterwards we'd be talking about Katie Taylor retiring, like that it's over. And even her own team, like they were telling me during fight week, like it's tough to tell Katie to do anything, but like they would probably say like a close, hard fought fight, walk away. There's nothing else. But this is the one I'm looking at Amanda like, yeah, she can go back down and wait, but I mean she's in her late 30s too. Yep. Like maybe it's the old Hagler line, right? Like she's made a lot of money. The silk sheets, it's nice. It's hard to kind of get up for this
Lost
stuff.
That
like,
edge.
She may have and she had an edge. Like I tweeted about this. Like and you been to a bunch of them too. Like I used to go to those DeBella shows in New York, where she was fighting in front of like 20 people. Defending titles, winning titles. Fighting at BB King's.
Yeah,
like
BB King's.
Doing these shows.
I called a couple of those fights for Lou.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm just sitting there, and it's like, oh, this woman's really entertaining. Like, you don't have knockout artists, and she had that edge in the first fight.
She was mean.
Yeah, spiteful again. I use that word again. Like had that edge in the first fight, had the edge in the second fight. Just didn't seem to have that edge in the third fight. See, and almost like the ring walk was spectacular. Like it was unbelievable. But like the happiness, like I don't know, there's too much happiness.
As soon as they were done, they both smiled and kind of hugged each other. Which, listen, you spent 3 round fight, but also like, where's the competitiveness? We're like, good one, like then we could smile afterwards. But nah, I wasn't there. It was right to joy and fun, and it was almost fun. It was more of an event than a fight.
Is there an interesting fight to you for Katie Taylor? Because people will point to Chantel Cameron. I'm not so sure I need to see a third fight between Taylor and Cameron. Michaela Mayer says she'll drop down to 140 for that fight. Those two have been talked about a little bit since 2016 when they were, both in that same weight class in the amateurs. I'm just trying to figure out what the compelling fight is.
Baumgartner's calling her out too, but she didn't look all that spectacular that night at all.
No.
And she's been very inactive. And she's another one kind of falling into what you were saying about Berlanga, where maybe we need to work more back to working on the craft and not the profile.
Yeah, and she keeps switching trainers too. Like she's
not a good sign. Not a good sign.
It was Bill Haney, it was Derek James for this fight, and she was with Tony Harrison.
More trainers than fights.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't see a natural opponent yet. I guess if you want to sell it, Baumgartner moving up to 30.
I don't know if Katie needs to do anything more. She's a gold medalist.
I don't think she can stop though. I don't think
she made so much money now.
I know.
So it's been a long career, really long career. A lot of
like
wars.
In the neighborhood. I heard in the neighborhood of $4 million for that fight. Like that's
man, God bless.
That's
great. That's great to see because especially those two women who deserve it because they are, in my mind, I mean, other than Clarissa Shields, they're the best women in the world. I mean, they've been dominant.
Oh, don't say it. Don't say greatest woman of all time.
I'm not going to debate. I'm not bringing it into that debate.
I'll tell you what, though. At the very least, Katie's got a pretty compelling case. Okay, she is also an Olympic gold medalist who has the best resume, unquestionably, of anyone in women's boxing. Look at her resume. The number of top 5 or top 10 pound for pound women that she has beat is unmatched by like a country mile. It's like
the competition
7
is really
0 or 1 or 2, whoever Clarissa got Savannah Marshall, who lost her this fight to Shakur Green. It's actually a good fight for Clarissa Shakur Green. I like that one.
Me too.
It's a new opponent for her. But Katie's professional resume is totally unmatched.
Yeah, I mean, she you could take her head to head with anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, male or female. I mean, she's fought so many great champions. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything left for her to do. I wouldn't mind seeing her. I mean, I love the way she fights. I love watching her fights. But I wouldn't mind seeing her calling it a day and be like finishing up on top.
I don't know if she could do it. I think she lives in Connecticut. She just trains, and she's the only person that likes. I'm not going to make fun of Connecticut. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. she loves the quiet life down there. She loves the quiet life.
She's simple. I mean, I remember meeting her in Belfast a couple years ago when I fought Ben, and she was just so nice and just soft spoken and just excited to be in a fight week. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's very genuine too.
She eats, drinks, and sleeps it.
It shows.
And good for her. All right, let's talk about the fight that you are going to be at and working for ppv.com on Saturday. Pacquiao against Barrios. I was sent a picture by the childishly dressed Fred Sternberg earlier in the week about it had you and your face-off from 2014 with Manny Pacquiao. That was 11 years, Chris. You are happily retired onto other things, and here comes Manny Pacquiao getting back in the ring to fight Mario Barrios for welterweight title. Let's start with like the obvious question. Like, should this fight be happening? Are we okay with this fight happening? It's not exactly Mike Tyson coming back to fight Jake Paul, but we just saw an aged legend get back into the ring after a long layoff. We haven't seen Pacquiao fight since 2021 against Yordenis Ugas. We haven't seen him win since 2019 against Keith Thurman. Is this a fight that we should be getting excited about?
Yes, because it's Manny Pacquiao, but it should be happening. Mannix, no. I'm retired 3.5 years. Guys who I fought who are still fighting should be younger than me, not older. He's older than I am. I mean, he was the old guy when I fought him, and now we're 11 years later. I am happily retired, no thought of even coming back, and this guy's fighting for a world title. It's mind blowing to me. I'm losing my mind thinking I'm in a Pacquiao fight week right now. And I'm excited because I'm on this side now. I don't have to go fight him, but it's something else that Pacquiao is back and in a big way, and people are excited. I'm excited, actually.
Why do you think he's doing it? I mean, there's money in it, of course, but it's not like a Turkey a la Sheik, huge bag of money. There's prestige in it, but does this guy need more prestige? No. Like, he's got more world title belts. No. Like, no, there's not. Like, I mean, I guess you would know the answer to this because it's hard for a fighter to give it up, right? Like, especially when you still feel there's some gas left in the tank.
100%. I struggled with retirement. Took me a good year and change to be like really okay with it. And Manny, I'm sure goes through the same thing that we all go through, but also Manny, from what I know of Manny in the lead up to our own fight, and the fact that now I'm a commentator, I've worked his fights before. I've worked his fight versus Lucas Matisse, and I got the interview Manny as a fighter meeting. I'm going to interview him this week. What I know about Manny is he's a warrior. The guy fights. This is what he does. This is what he's always done. This is what he's the best at. He got away from it. He tried the politics thing. He tried the basketball thing. Nothing's like fighting, man. Nothing is like fighting. And I think for Manny, it's just like, hey, man, this is what I do. I'm going to do it till I can't do it anymore. And I'm going to tell you a quick story. I called the fight of Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. when he fought the exhibition with Hector Camacho Jr. How do you put that together? But so we did the fighter meeting with Chavez Sr. And he took 90 minutes. He talked to everyone. He was holding court. It was fantastic, telling stories, this and this and that. And he was wearing a headgear for that fight, but didn't want to. And everyone's like, you have to wear a headgear. He's like, nah. He's like, And then Claudia Trejos, good friend, she's like, no, Julio, like your life is on the line. And he shrugs his shoulders and he goes, he's like, I'm a fighter. He was like, if I were to die in the ring, what would be more romantic? What would be more poetic? And like that mentality is what I sense with Manny Pacquiao. He's a warrior. This is what he does. The man fights.
I just wonder, like in 2021, after the Ugas fight, he knew at that point it was over, or at least he felt at that time it was over, because his career could have continued after that if he decided to take 6 months off, got back in the gym. What's changed over we were talking about it coming back for over a year, so it's been a while that he's been thinking about this. But like, when does the switch flip that you kind of forget how you looked and how you felt in 2021, and you're like, you know what? I can do this again. Look, he's not alone. There are guys all the time. Look, I gotta bring Sergio into this. Sergio still talks about fighting. Still talks about getting back in for like an 8-rounder against Jake Paul. I'll tell you what. Like, he was when Pablo Valdez fell out of his fight in New York a couple of weeks ago on the Richard Hitchin undercard. Sergio went to Matchroom and was like, "If you give me $100,000, I'll fight Pablo Valdez right now." That's what he said to him. He said, "I'll fight him right now." So like, I get it. It's you always think there's something left, but like, it's like what I can never understand. Someone didn't fight is like, how do you go from like knowing in 2021 that it's over to being here in 2025 thinking it's not? There's the question I have.
I call it opportunistic delusion. Fighters need a little bit of that. You got to be shirtless in front of millions of people and with the chance to be completely embarrassed. But you can't think that. You got to think, I can beat everybody. I can beat anybody. That doesn't necessarily go away. It's kind of in our blood. But with Manny, so I heard him do an interview where he was saying that for the Ugas fight, he was going through some lawsuit stuff and he was very distracted. And he did look a little listless in that fight. So I could see him sitting out and being like, I can't be the last one. I wasn't really in it. I have more than that left in me. And Ugas is a tough style anyway. I mean, he was supposed to fight Spence that night, which would have been very, very bad. Yeah, I think Manny kind of left it alone in that after that Ugas fight and be like, that wasn't 100% me. I need to go out there and show my own. Whether I win or I lose, I'm better than that.
We do though have some Pacquiao quote fights in between. We have some of these exhibitions that he was doing where he had a little dad bod going on.
Very fleshy. Never seen Manny like that.
Some of these fights.
Yeah.
I'm sure when he gets on the scales, he's going to look great. He's Manny Pacquiao. He works hard. He's back at Wild Card, working with Freddie, doing all those things. So
I don't think he trained for that one or either of those exhibitions. I think he just showed up.
He's fighting a YouTuber, whatever those guys.
But then he fought that real kickboxer who I know that guy from kickboxing. He can really fight. I don't know who advised Manny on that one. That guy can fight, obviously. But
the intrigue in this is that I think he's fighting the right guy to come back against.
It's the reason he's back.
Like, Mario Barrios is a recognized title holder. You can't take that away from him. But he's a little bit on the older side. He's coming off a win against Ramos that was a draw, right? Against Ramos, his last fight.
Draw.
It was not good at all.
And Ramos is not a world-class guy.
No. So he's another one that, and I thought, because I was kind of hearing stuff about how the negotiations with Boots Ennis were going for Barrios. He didn't want any part of that. Like, I think Barrios was looking for that one big payday, and this is probably going to be it for him. So I think if there's a guy out there at welterweight with a title that Pacquiao can beat, we're looking at him. We're looking. That's kind of how I read the situation.
Yeah, and also, if you look at his stylistically, Manny's always liked fighting taller fighters. Oscar De La Hoya, myself, Antonio Margarito. He always is really good with taller guys. Mario Barrios is a taller guy. I actually think he's the tallest guy he's fought. I haven't met Mario yet, but I think he's actually a little bit taller than me.
He's huge.
He's definitely listed at.
He's close to 6 feet. He's a big guy.
So he's bigger than even Margarito.
Yeah.
But also, Manny of old, the prime Manny, tall fighters who are front foot heavy, jabbers, hookers. That's what Barrios is. He's willing to engage. He's a Mexican warrior. He's going to stay in the pocket. He'll engage. He throws jabs at middle distance that aren't like super snappy or deceptive. We saw that in the Tank Davis fight when he hit him with that right hook and dropped him. And then that's another thing. You look at Tank Davis like, oh, we got a 5'5" southpaw who's explosive, who was able to walk Mario Barrios down and stop him. If you're Manny's people, you got to be looking at that and be like, well, a lot of the things he can do, I can do, so we can make this fight work. But it depends what version of Manny shows up.
How much of a blemish would it be if this looks like a version of Tyson Paul? Like, if it's just like you got an old man in there that's getting jabbed to death, right hand, just can't pull the trigger in the way that he used to. I mean, is that how big a, like, he's already a Hall of Famer, obviously. Yeah. But how does that put any kind of stench on everything that he's accomplished?
I really don't think so. I think Manny is above that at this point. This is all extra. This is extra gravy on the potatoes. I mean, I don't think it doesn't really matter. He's accomplished so much, and I don't know how much people are expecting him to actually go out there and be able to pull this off. It would be amazing, and I'm not saying that he can't. He very well might, which would be an amazing, a historic event for him to pull that off. But if he goes out there and loses, and it almost doesn't matter how he loses, I don't think it's really going to tarnish him at all.
All right, so I'm taking Barrios by lopsided decision. I love Pacquiao. I just think Barrios, he's got a good training team that I've known for a long time around him. I think they have a good game plan. I think they're going to stay on the outside, and I don't think a 46-year-old Pacquiao can just do what he would do otherwise to a fighter with the kind of vulnerabilities that Pacquiao has. How do you see this fight playing out?
Pretty similar. I'm going with the youth, but also I think we're going to see the best version of Mario Barrios. He's like you said, his team's great. Bob Santos is a really smart trainer, and he's been telling me about Mario for years. And up until his last two performances, the Maidana and the Abel Ramos fight, I thought he was an ever-improving fighter. I thought he looked really good against Ugas, who was really hard to look good against. He's got things that he does that are. He's got a stiff, hard jab. He's a great body shot, left hook to the body, great body shot. Good fighting at distance with the right hand. He's a sharp, fundamental fighter. I'm having trouble with the age, but also the inactivity. You know, you talk about George Foreman. Yes, he's heavyweight, but he was active. He was busy. He built himself to the title fight because he needed that timing to get more. Manny coming right off the couch, 4.5 years. That actually bothers me more than the age, is the inactivity.
Yeah. If he was active, maybe it'd be a different story, but like just the timing, the explosiveness against a guy that's younger and he's just going to be there. That's going to be tough. I hope there is some competitive moments. Like I hope we're not in the 8th round being like, should Freddie stop this? Should somebody stop this?
Mannix, I'll say this in the first round. The first round's going to be so telling because what made Manny special and made him so good at fighting these taller fighters was his explosive first step. Fastest first step of anyone I've ever been in a ring with. I mean, his ability to just change speeds, change angles, and change direction, and to throw the left hand with no fat on the punch. It just literally the glove just got bigger before it hit me in the face. It just came right at me. If he's able to get off on that fast first step in that first round, and he lands a straight left hand down the middle of Barrios' guard, we got to fight. We got to fight. If he looks like he did in the exhibition against that kickboxer, where he's falling over his skis, he's leaning forward, he throws the left hand, ends up square, it's going to be a really long night for Pacquiao fans.
Well, I will look for that on ppv.com, where you are co-hosting exclusive viewer chat in real time throughout Saturday's Pacquiao Barrios HD live stream, which is allegedly going to be crystal clear. I'm going to be watching for that all fight long. Check out Pacquiao Barrios World Championship event on ppv.com. No subscription required. Chris, great to catch up with you, man. Thanks for doing this.
Always a pleasure, my man. Good to see you.